It is the year 1846, and piracy across the Caribbean Sea is fading away. Only the most brutal and relentless pirates are still active. On a storm-filled night, a pirate vessel closes in on a merchant fishing boat and rapidly boards it. One sailor warns Captain Bowden that pirates are attacking, and he immediately hides the gold in his pocket. He then commands his crew to get ready for a fight, but the pirates slaughter the men without hesitation. Amid the turmoil, Captain Bowden is captured. The pirate leader, Connor, steps forward to face Bowden and reveals he has spent many years hunting the gold that was stolen from him. Raising a gold bar marked with his personal seal, Connor demands to know how an ordinary merchant captain obtained it and who gave it to him. At that moment, the quartermaster Lee discovers the vessel departed from Cayman Brac, a freed British colony. Connor acknowledges the information with a nod and commands his crew to move Bowden onto their ship. Back on Cayman Brac, the townspeople gather inside the church, praying for the fishermen who have been missing for 59 days to return safely. Outside, Bowden's wife Ursula stands along the shoreline, staring at the sea while waiting for her husband to come back. Meanwhile, Ursula's sister-in-law Elizabeth Bowden sits in her bedroom preparing for the arrival of her boyfriend Weston. Weston quietly climbs into her room through the window. He tells her his ship will depart the following day and asks if she has decided whether she will leave with him. Elizabeth admits she still has not made up her mind. At that moment, Ursula opens the front gate, making the bottles hanging nearby rattle loudly. Ursula's young son Isaac wakes up and slowly climbs out of bed. Using the rope stretched through the house to steady herself, Ursula walks toward the front door and then turns toward Elizabeth's bedroom window. Just then, she notices the food cooking on the stove has been left unattended. She calls out for Elizabeth. Then she sees her son and gently leads him back to his bed. He asks if the ship has come back yet. She tells him not yet, but promises that it will and that his father will return home. Eventually, Elizabeth agrees that she will run away with Weston the next day. Meet you by the cove first. Just then, Ursula knocks on the door. Weston quickly hides while Elizabeth opens it. Ursula scolds her for not watching the coconut sweets she prepared for Isaac's birthday. Elizabeth apologizes. Ursula decides she will make another batch. Later, the three of them sit together and share the sweets, unaware that a group of pirates is already heading toward the island. Later that night, Ursula discovers Isaac reading a book about pirates. He tells his mother he feels something is wrong because his father promised he would return before his birthday. Ursula calmly explains that the sea is always unpredictable. She then gives him a small gift his father left behind in case he arrived late. Later, she takes a bath while thinking about her husband. In the other room, Elizabeth writes a note explaining that she is leaving. Meanwhile, the pirates arrive on the shore, and the first person they meet is Weston. The following morning, Elizabeth leaves the note behind and kisses Isaac goodbye before quietly slipping away. Some time later, Ursula wakes up to the sound of the hanging bottles clinking. Immediately alert, she walks toward Elizabeth's room. But instead of finding her sister-in-law, she sees pirates moving toward her cottage. She quickly locks the front door and rushes to wake her son. She leads him to a hidden trapdoor beneath the floor, grabs a rifle, and sends him down to hide. Taking her position, she aims her weapon at the front entrance. Suddenly, a pirate drops down and catches her slightly off guard. Even so, she smashes him hard with the rifle. Another pirate rushes forward to help him. Moments later, another pirate named Scout enters with a cold smile. He asks Ursula where she keeps the money. She points toward a portrait hanging on the wall. Frustrated, Scout shouts that he asked about the gold. Ursula insists they have none. She suddenly knocks one of the men down and tries to escape, but she is quickly captured. Scout places the gold bar in front of her and demands to know where the rest is. When she refuses to answer, he orders his men to break her bones but leave her face unharmed. The next morning, Connor arrives at Cayman Brac. The island's leader Gustavo approaches him politely and asks who he is. Connor introduces himself as Captain Francisco Connor. Meanwhile, the rest of his pirate crew advances toward the island. On the other side of the island, Elizabeth happily calls for Weston, only to discover his lifeless body. Moments later, Pastor Bradley spots Connor and quickly alerts the harbor master to look ahead. When the harbor master sees the pirates approaching, he blows a conch shell to warn the townspeople to take shelter inside the church. Gustavo turns toward Connor and declares that he knows exactly who he is, a criminal, a war dog, and a wanted enemy of the British Empire. Connor simply replies, "I," and calmly asks where Bowden's wife is. Gustavo refuses to answer. He then tells the men to prepare the bulldog cannon to stop the pirates from moving inland. Before they can fire it, the pirates open fire and Connor kills Gustavo. Back at Ursula's home, the pirates hang her up as she groans in pain. The men draw their knives, and one of them discovers Isaac's hiding spot. Gathering every bit of strength she has, Ursula breaks free and quickly kills both men with ruthless speed. She notices a dagger nearby, grabs it, and uses it to slash another attacker. One after another, she finishes them off. Meanwhile, Connor moves through Cayman Brack with deadly precision, killing anyone who resists him. A wounded Gustav makes one final attempt to ignite the bulldog cannon, but Connor stops him before he can fire it. The pirates finally reach the shoreline and begin heading inland. Elizabeth sees them arriving from a distance and quickly hides. Connor greets Lee and the rest of his crew. He declares that no one is allowed to leave the island until he takes back what belongs to him. Gustav warns them that the Royal Navy patrols these waters and bitterly says they know how to deal with pirates like them. Lee coldly replies that only the strongest pirates are left now. Connor then asks where the island's distress signal is located. Gustav simply laughs. When Connor gestures toward the church and orders his men to fire at it, Gustav finally gives in. He reveals the signal post stands at the far end of the island on top of the bluff. Without hesitation, Connor executes Gustav with a cannon blast. Scout approaches Connor and reports that they have captured Ursel but still have not found the gold. Meanwhile, back at the house, Ursel covers the bodies and reassures her son that he has nothing to fear. She tells Isaac to pack a bag with enough supplies for 3 days. As he begins gathering his things, Isaac notices a gold bar on the ground and quietly picks it up. Hearing a sound, Ursel raises her rifle but realizes it is Pastor Bradley. He asks if she is hurt and assumes the attackers are bounty hunters. She grimly tells him they are far worse. She asks Bradley how many pirates have entered the town. He replies that an entire gang has arrived. It is then revealed that Bradley and Ursel were once pirates who served under Connor, with Ursel acting as his co-captain. Bradley warns her that Connor is searching for her and that innocent people are dying because of it. He insists she is the only one capable of stopping him, calling her captain. She coldly tells him never to call her that again. Isaac hands Ursel the note Elizabeth left behind. In the letter, Elizabeth explains that she ran away with Weston to begin a new life with him. Isaac then tells his mother he cannot find his dagger. Ursel retrieves it and straps it onto him. Ursel tells Bradley and Isaac to head north. When they reach the tree marked with a moon-shaped symbol, they will see the creek. She tells them to wait there until she and Elizabeth arrive. After that, all of them can travel together to the bluff. Isaac begs her to come with them, but Ursel gently tells him she must save his aunt first. Meanwhile, Elizabeth runs desperately through the cornfields, trying to escape from the pirates. Suddenly, a pair of hands seizes her from behind. She struggles in panic until she realizes the person holding her is Ursel. Elizabeth, terrified, says the men have killed everyone. Crying, she tells Ursel that Weston has died. Ursel apologizes and explains they cannot go back home. Instead, they must head toward the creek where Isaac and Bradley are waiting. Meanwhile, the pirates tear through Ursel's house searching for the gold. Lee turns to Scout and sarcastically asks if this is what he meant by subduing the woman. He then commands the men to split up and hunt for Ursel, ordering them to kill anyone traveling with her. Quietly, Connor studies the house. After a moment, he announces that Ursel has a son and that the boy cannot walk properly. In the mangrove forest, Isaac and Bradley locate the tree carved with a moon-shaped mark and wait beside the creek exactly as they were told. A few minutes later, Ursel and Elizabeth arrive. Soon after, Connor and his men reach the same place. At the creek, Ursel quickly puts Isaac and Elizabeth into a small basket boat and sends them across first. They hesitate in fear because the water below is full of alligators. Ursel then crosses to the other side and urges them to run. At that moment, the pirates burst out of the trees. Bradley signals for her to go. Though it hurts her, Ursel retreats. Connor approaches Bradley and greets him using his former pirate name. Bradley calmly replies that he is a pastor now and has found peace. Connor smirks and says a man may change his uniform, but underneath he remains the same. On the other side, Ursel tells Isaac and Elizabeth to keep moving toward the bluff, promising she will join them soon. She then climbs a tree and spots Bradley. Connor demands to know where Ursel is. When Bradley refuses to speak, Connor shoots him. Connor then notices Ursel in the distance. The pirates start firing into the treetops as she runs. Connor orders his men not to kill her. Several pirates rush into the creek, but some are dragged under by the alligators. The remaining men push forward, trying to capture Ursel. She fights back with deadly accuracy, eliminating them one by one. One pirate charges toward Isaac and Elizabeth, but Ursel steps in at the last moment and kills him. Connor calls out to Ursel using her old nickname, Bloody Bloody Man. He tells her he has heard that she now has a beautiful family and wonders if they know her true identity. He suggests they settle things like business partners. In response, Ursel cuts off one of his men's heads and throws it at Connor's feet. Unbothered, Connor offers a deal. Bowden's life in exchange for his gold. He tells her to meet him at her cottage at dusk. As they leave, Elizabeth asks where they are going. Ursel replies that they are heading to the safest place on the island. They arrive at the bluff, and Ursula leads them into the caves beneath it. She lights a torch, filling the cave with flickering shadows. She warns Elizabeth to walk carefully because she placed traps throughout the cave. Ursula opens a hidden compartment in the floor, and they climb down into a secret room. Inside, Isaac and Elizabeth see the room filled with weapons and survival supplies. Who was that horrible man? Ursula admits that his name is Connor. He once worked as a colonizer for the East India Trading Company before becoming a feared pirate. Elizabeth asks how Ursula knows them. After a long pause, Ursula confesses that she and her family were indentured workers when Connor attacked their ship. He took her when she was only 12 years old. Elizabeth struggles to understand how a young girl could grow up on a pirate ship. I had to become someone else, Ursula replies. Bloody Mary, Elizabeth whispers. Ursula nods when asked whether Bowden knew the truth about her past. Isaac then notices that the gold bars have the same mark as the one he found earlier at their house. Ursula explains that the gold carries Connor's personal seal. It was meant to stay buried, though she does not know why Bowden retrieved it. So, you're a criminal? Elizabeth asks nervously. Ursula looks directly at her. This criminal is your only hope. Back at the cottage, Scout cannot believe Ursula managed to kill so many of their men. I am afraid of no Skag. Lee tells him that while he was still clinging to his mother's side, that woman was a true terror who commanded her own ship alongside Connor until she stabbed him, stole his gold, and vanished. Later, Lee questions Connor, asking if their mission is still about the gold. Connor firmly confirms that it is. Lee warns him he cannot continue losing men just to satisfy his desire for revenge. Back at the caves, Isaac curiously plays with one of the bombs until Ursula sharply orders him to go outside and explore. Elizabeth goes with him. Ursula opens a chest and takes out her old pirate clothing. She puts it on easily and arms herself to confront Connor and the pirates. Then she says goodbye to Isaac and Elizabeth, sternly warning them not to touch anything while she is gone. Using a secret path that leads to the well near her cottage, Ursula heads back toward the town. Meanwhile, Connor absent-mindedly traces the scar Ursula gave him years earlier. Minutes later, he walks over to Bowden. Mockingly, Bowden asks how many of Connor's men Ursula has killed so far. Connor admits she is a skilled fighter and a formidable woman. Bowden sarcastically asks if that is why she stabbed him. Connor says it did confuse him, insisting there was once a time when they were true partners in every sense. Bowden scoffs, clearly doubting him. Surprised, Connor asks whether Ursula never told him the truth. Back at the caves, Isaac and Elizabeth start looking through Ursula's belongings, their curiosity getting the better of them. Hours pass. Ursula quietly observes the pirates scattered around her cottage. Suddenly, Lee's son mutters that he senses death in the air. Silently, Ursula throws one of her bombs into the middle of them. Then she begins eliminating the pirates one by one. She finally reaches Bowden and rushes into his arms. Desperately, she tries to unlock his shackles. Bowden immediately asks about Isaac and Elizabeth. Ursula assures him they are safe. Then Bowden admits he took the gold to search for help for their son, hoping to pay for treatment that might allow Isaac to walk again. Ursula's anger fades. She tells him she understands. Outside, one pirate whistles for a signal, but no whistle answers. Lee orders the men to spread out and find Ursula. Inside, Bowden tells Ursula that Connor holds the key to his chains. He quietly asks about her past with Connor. Ursula replies that everything she did back then was simply to survive. Bowden tells her it changes nothing between them. She softly answers that her life became better the day she met him. They hear footsteps approaching the door. Ursula slips a knife into Bowden's sash and tells him she will make the trade. Moments later, Ursula finds herself surrounded outside. Calmly, she greets Lee. Lee proudly declares that he is now the quartermaster. Ursula tells him she always believed he would rise through the ranks. One pirate steps forward, and Ursula kills him instantly without hesitation. She warns the others to stay back or she will detonate every bomb she planted. Connor steps out of the house with a smirk and asks if she has missed him. She coldly asks if he wants the gold. He nods. Ursula turns the well crank, and with the creaking of ropes, the chest filled with gold rises from the depths. In return, Connor releases Bowden. Then Connor turns back toward Ursula, saying they still have unfinished business, her betrayal. Ursula replies that she only took what belonged to her. Connor reminds her that when he first found her, she was a frightened girl destined for a life of servitude in some Englishman's brothel. He claims he saved her and made her powerful, yet she stabbed him in the ribs and stole from him. Ursula calmly apologizes and says she had aimed for his heart. Suddenly, Bowden lunges at Connor with the knife. At the same moment, Ursula activates the explosives while Lee shouts for the men to secure the gold. Ursula battles Lee in a brutal fight of blades and fists. During the struggle, she sees Bowden losing his fight against Connor. Desperate, she cries out that she surrenders and begs Connor to stop. Connor ignores her plea and drives his sword into Bowden's ribs. Ursula screams as Bowden dies. Connor slowly walks toward her. She backs away and grabs a sword, but he quickly knocks it from her hands. He demands to know why she betrayed him. Through tears, she asks why he could not simply take the gold and leave. Connor answers that the gold is for his crew, but what he truly wants is the bounty placed on her head. Then she activates another detonator connected to the chest. The explosion rips through the clearing, yet Ursula somehow survives. Back at the caves, Elizabeth pieces together the truth from old letters. Bowden had once been a deckhand. They met years earlier on Cayman Brack when Ursula was living in hiding after stealing Connor's gold. Elizabeth also learns that Ursula is not her real name. Her true name is foreign, and Elizabeth struggles to pronounce it. Wounded and exhausted, Ursula slowly limps back toward the caves. Meanwhile, Lee is filled with rage. He blames Connor's obsession with that woman for the death of his son. He tells Connor that now they have lost both the gold and the bounty. Ignoring Connor's authority, Lee commands the men to get ready to leave the island. Connor reacts instantly and shoots Lee dead. Turning toward the crew, Connor announces that their quartermaster failed to recognize the true worth of Bloody Mary. He begins speaking about the fading golden era of piracy, reminding them how pirates once dominated the oceans, stained the waters red for kings, built their own settlements, and lived freely as masters of their fate, only to now be hunted like criminals. Then he reveals a decree signed by 3 empires that promises a lifetime pardon to anyone who captures Bloody Mary. He tells them that through her, they can earn their freedom again. The pirates roar with excitement. Later, Scout tells Connor about a hidden tunnel beneath the well, suggesting it might have been her escape route. Inside the caves, Elizabeth carefully cleans and wraps Ursula's wound. With a shaking voice, Ursula tells her that Bowden is dead. Elizabeth then shares what she discovered, that Ursula is not her true name. She gently says that Connor seems to have taken everything from her, even her identity. Then, with quiet determination, Elizabeth tells her it is time to reclaim it. Ursula nods and warns that the pirates will reach the cave soon. They must stay alive until sunrise, and they should light the signal at dawn so the British Navy can see the smoke and trace it back to the island. Working quickly, Ursula and the others set traps throughout the caves, hoping to eliminate as many pirates as possible. Meanwhile, Connor and his men follow the hidden passage beneath the well. Soon they notice blood on the vines and realize that Ursula must be hiding inside. Ursula tells Isaac and Elizabeth that if anything happens to her, they must take the catboat and sail to the larger island. She then locks the inner door and prepares to fight. The pirates begin entering the caves. One of them turns a winch mechanism and is instantly shot down. The others notice Ursula's position and open fire. As they move forward, Elizabeth activates one of the traps, killing several men in a sudden explosion. Ursula keeps shooting fiercely. Connor fires back, but eventually his gun runs out of ammunition. When the cave falls into an eerie silence, Elizabeth carefully steps forward, only for Scout to suddenly attack her. Isaac jumps in to protect her. Elizabeth tells him to run as she struggles while Scout grabs hold of her. Even while fighting, she manages to trigger another trap. Getting back to her feet, she pulls the chain away from Scout and declares that it never belonged to him. Elsewhere, Ursula cuts down the remaining pirates. When she finally meets Connor's gaze, she runs. Outside, Elizabeth sees that Isaac has successfully pushed the boat into the sea. He shouts that Ursula has lit the signal, but unknown to them, Connor was actually the one who lit it. He tells Ursula he set the signal so the British Navy would notice the smoke and believe the island had been hiding a dangerous criminal, and that his brave crew died while bringing her to justice. The two of them engage in a brutal and relentless duel. Connor demands that she surrender, but she refuses. As the fight reaches its climax, Elizabeth fires at Connor. The moment he hesitates, Ursula seizes the chance, grabs a sword, and drives it into him. As he collapses, he softly whispers, "My Mary," before falling lifeless to the ground. Elizabeth rushes to Ursula and hugs her tightly. Finally, Ursula reveals that her real name is Mayim. Out on the sea, Isaac discovers the chest filled with gold inside the boat.